Hey Greg, you know what I feel like this series has been missing for a while?
What would that be, Noah?
Hyperviolence.
Oh, you mean like a dystopian hyperviolence?
Yes, Greg, exactly what I was thinking.
All right. Well, that reminds me. Recently on Amazon Prime, Dredd came out as a free to watch, and I watched it.
Yes. Yes, it is very, very good.
Was this your first time watching it, Noah?
No, it was my second. I watched it about 8 years ago. Wow. It came out in 2012.
Good job. Wait, I thought it came out in 2013. No, it came out in 2012. Okay, good job. You're on top of things.
Short review. It's really good. Go watch it and then sign the petition to get the sequel made because the movie didn't make any money when it came out.
I wonder why. Was it just not really well advertised?
It was right before rated R. Superhero movies, superhero in quotation marks, were a thing. Like, you had Blade in the 90s, but other than that, there was a huge drought for a long time.
I would very much so like to see a sequel to this movie.
2012 was the big PG-13 push to where almost all movies were trying to be PG-13.
Well, I'm glad that didn't last.
From like 2000, I want to say like 6 to like 20. When did Deadpool come out? 2016. Till about 2016, 2015. All action movies were trying to skirt around to be PG-13.
Yeah, and then the greatest rated R superhero movie I've ever seen, Logan, came out.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty good. Because remember, Live Free or Die Hard was PG-13. Like, what was up with that?
Yeah, that was kind of one of the worst Die Hards I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's
actually
dedicated to that.
John Wick might have gotten this train rolling because it came out, a year?
Everyone
2
realized
years
how much
before
of a
Deadpool?
sociopath they were when they saw John Wick.
John Wick's an interesting story because it was not super popular in the theaters, but it was really popular in rentals. And that's why we got the sequel.
Well, anyway, we should probably talk about Dredd, the movie we saw.
Yes, we can talk about the studio problems later. Let's talk about Dredd and why it's amazing.
I would like to start off with a short comparison between this Dredd and the original Judge Dredd.
Ooh, I saw that probably when I was 13, and I remember it being pretty bad, and that's about it.
Really, I actually love the original because it's so cheesy and corny.
I mean, it does have that charm to it.
It has a
But I don't know.
It has a power to it almost, like kind of like archaic, where it's like I don't think I should be enjoying myself, but I just am.
I guess you could watch it. Like, you watch The Room.
Okay. So it does seem like we have differing opinions on the original film. The newer film is definitely much more realistic, much more serious than the original. However, that being said, Carl Urban is no Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, he's better.
What? I love Sylvester Stallone's performance in the original Dredd.
Sylvester Stallone, he's a little over the top for what I see as Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd is supposed to be straight serious, and because of that, Stallone just doesn't quite carry that.
I am the law.
Yeah, he doesn't have that. You still haven't seen The Boys, right?
No, I have not seen The Boys.
You should definitely watch The Boys, at least the first season, because Carl Urban plays Butcher, and he plays that character as like a smart talking Judge Dredd.
Carl Urban kind of like spaces out his performances, because one of the more, I don't want to say under the radar, but not one that's like very prominent in pop culture, is Red. And Red is
That was
my favorite Carl Urban performance.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah.
Red's not. I'm not a big fan of Red.
Really? I don't know. I kind of like Red a lot.
Red. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it. I watched it when it came out, and it did not resonate super well with me.
All right, fair, Pog. All right, so synopsis of... We're not going to talk about the old Dredd anymore. I just wanted to clear that out of the way, the whole Sylvester Stallone
It's
thing.
so bad, it's good, apparently.
Yes, I think so. I am the law! Okay, so Dredd, just Dredd, not Judge Dredd. Dredd is a dystopian future of post-nuclear war America that takes place in Mega City 1 that spans from Boston to DC.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 800 million people living in that area.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Super crazy. I do like the design of the city where it's so like what is the word I'm looking for? Symmetrical.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like you have patches of buildings and then the mega structures.
Oh yeah, the mega structures.
Okay, go for it.
Real quick, I just want to bring up how smartly they use the budget of this movie. This is a surprisingly low budget movie. It's only around $40 million, $45 million.
Yes, there's a single setting throughout the entirety of the movie, and you feel like it's much bigger than it actually is. I would not be surprised if they had maybe 4 sets that they used.
I wonder where they filmed this, because I know it's partly a London production, because DNA is a production company in London. But if you would have told me they would have filmed this in certain parts of Detroit, I probably would have believed you. I've been to Detroit several times. It's always been sad.
Stop. That's funny. Well, I think they just constructed the sets, to be honest, or at least used construction yards, because it kind of looks like an incomplete building. They probably just like added a couple things to make it look complete.
Yeah. The mega structures are definitely pretty interesting. How they're part shopping mall and part residency.
And that they're so big.
They are huge.
200 floors. Oh, also, I for a second I thought my TV was f***ing up because I noticed that there's a film grain in quite a lot of scenes in this movie.
Usually when it's dark.
I did not like that. I did not like the film grain.
I think they actually did shoot this movie on film, which in that case, depending on what kind of quality of film they used, that was just what it was.
There's not film grain in other scenes.
Well, okay, so the way film grain works is that in order to get a better exposure in the dark, because I noticed the film grain only when it was really dark, the film quality usually takes a hit, so that's why you'll see more grain when it's dark normally.
Okay, well that will explain why all the scenes that have like the red like look pretty crap.
Yeah, that's just
like,
a consequence of film.
When the red lights came on when the building was locking down, I was like, I legit can't see anything.
Because I noticed that the version on Amazon was a standard definition DVD. I really wonder if they fixed that in the Blu-ray release.
Probably.
That's something to... I'm going to have to buy the Blu-ray.
I think my brother has the Blu-ray. I could check.
Anyway, I guess we should give a quick synopsis of the plot.
Yeah, you go for it.
So, in Dredd, we follow Judge Dredd and this rookie. What was her name? I can't believe I forgot it. Anderson. She is a wannabe judge because she didn't quite pass her test to get into being a judge. And you can tell she's very green. She's never been in any world combat or anything like that. But she has one advantage. She's an extremely powerful psychic.
Now pause there for a second, Noah.
Okay.
I want to actually talk about how she failed her like tests, you know? And I have a theory about that, And you know, like how all of the judges are essentially like the same person, just with different voices. They kind of all have the same personality.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the reason why she failed is because she's so empathetic.
That
they're looking for sociopaths, like people who are, or not psychopaths, people who
they would not be
people who can't
sociopaths.
really experience emotion. Yeah, like people who are devoid of emotion and just really cold.
See, I'm not sure if they have antisocial personality disorder, because I feel like Dredd does have some sort of empathy and emotion. It's just he's very calloused and hard because of his life and job. Like, you can definitely tell, like, especially at the ending, where you can see he has a respect for her. And he should have failed her. She did technically fail, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're jumping way ahead.
It's okay. But to wrap that thought up, like, they said she failed by like 3%. And I wanted to to harden that theory a bit, to reconstruct it, because she is still capable of performing her duty as a judge and become a cold, calculating person, but she is just slightly hindered by empathy. Okay, you can continue with the synopsis.
I'll get back to, actually, what I'm going to add on to that real quick. Dredd could have iced those two children, but he stuns them instead. They should have been sentenced to death. They tried to kill judges.
I would have killed them.
But he stuns them. That is some sort of empathy. Anyway, jumping back to where we were, he gets assigned to work with this rookie, and since she failed her test by 3 points, the chief calls it marginal or semantic, something like that.
Yeah, that chief, I don't believe for a second that is the chief of judges.
I think there's probably more than one chief.
I think, well, her specifically, I think that was a poor casting decision. She doesn't look like someone who would be a chief of judges. She looks young, you know? Like, she herself looks inexperienced like Anderson. Anyway, sorry for interrupting.
What was I saying? Oh, right. And she says, take her out on a mission, sink or swim in this scenario. If she does well, she gets the badge. If she doesn't do well, then no. And so they take her out to this apartment complex, this mega structure, because there have been 3 murders. These people have been skinned and thrown off.
Oh, actually, you're missing an important detail here, Noah.
Sure, what's that?
It's Anderson selected to go to Peachtree.
Yes.
She was put in charge of the case, and there's a bit of dialogue in there that kind of expands the universe, where Dredd says that, like, there's 33 calls made every second, and judges can only answer 6% of them.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. And then Anderson just unluckily says, oh, let's go to Peachtree's, the worst possible place a rookie could have gone.
I think part of that is because of her empathy, though, because she said she grew up in slums like this and thinks they can't be changed.
Maybe she did grow up in Peachtree's, so that's why she selected it.
And so they go to Peachtree's, they see the 3 bodies that were thrown off, I want to say the 35th story, and they go looking for the people who did it. They find one guy. Well, actually, they do a small drug bust, and they capture one guy, and they're about to leave to question him when the whole building gets shut down by this gang leader, Ma, who is a Mama, who is a cold-blooded woman. Coincidentally, I guess I shouldn't say that, but that actress, this is the second most violent portrayal she's ever had to do.
First is Cersei Lannister.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that poor bastard, his name's Kay, by the way, portrayed by Wood Harris. That poor bastard gets dragged everywhere.
It's pretty funny at times.
It's hilarious. And there's a certain point in this movie that I deducted points off of, because I personally, after that point in the movie, it's after the interrogation scene, I would have just shot him, just executed him, because he's dead weight. He's a threat now.
I think their logic behind that, because I was discussing this with my significant other.
Oh.
Well, I don't know why I said it like that.
Over Chardonnay?
No, during the movie, I was talking to my girlfriend. And I think the reason they did that was because they know what Ma's up to, but Ma still thinks they don't know because he's still alive. She doesn't know Anderson's a psychic.
But would that have really changed Mama's, effort?
See, I'm not sure. That's what I was thinking too, but that is my theory.
Because literally, before that interrogation scene even happens, she lights up an entire floor with miniguns.
It's pretty dope.
What would she have done? Dropped a nuke? Oh!
Yeah, it's pretty intense. If you're squeamish to graphic violence, you should not watch Dredd. Also, there's a little bit of...
you should watch Dredd and get over it.
There's also a bit of nudity in this film, if that bothers some people. It's very rare, though.
Oh, well. Mm-hmm. So our adventure afterwards kicks off with Mama hacking into, the Peachtree's complex and locking it down. And we're introduced to this poor little hacker dude. Hacker man. With the eyes, and that poor bastard.
Anderson made the right call letting him go.
Yeah, this movie after that point is a wild ride. It kicks up the nos, and then it just starts killing people. Left, right, and center.
I guess we should do a little world building first, because we haven't talked about what the judges are.
I mean, we did say it's a dystopian future.
Yeah, so in this future, there are no juries, there are no executioners, there are only judges who carry out all those roles.
Yeah, and if you're lucky, you get sent to the ISO cubes, which I don't know what are.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I love the homeless guy who they were like, this is your warning. If you don't move, you're going to get you're in the ISO cubes.
Yeah, and then he stayed because he wants the ISO cubes.
And he's like,
so
apparently
apparently the ISO cubes aren't as bad as homelessness.
I mean, people do that already in jail, so...
Yeah.
Especially during the winter. Okay, I'm looking up what ISO cubes look like.
I don't think they were in the original Judge Dredd.
No, but I think there's been some video games, and of course there's a comic book. Ooh, they're nice. I'll put them in the thumbnail.
Oh, they're legit just cubes.
Yes. Oh,
they're just cells.
You looked them up?
Yeah. They're just prison cells. I thought they would be much worse than this.
I mean, I don't think they're completely inhumane.
No, of course not. I expected much worse.
Now I want to know what the Juvie cubes look like.
Just smaller versions.
They're just mini.
With a McDonald's logo on it. And then you have the Mighty Kids ISO cubes.
I guess we should say that we start off this movie with a really good action sequence.
Oh, yeah. It's a chase that Dredd just, murders a bunch of dudes in, a van when they're just chilling, having some slow-mo, which, by the way, slow-mo is the worst drug in the world. Never take it if anything like it comes out.
Oh, it's going to be really popular if it does come out.
I would be terrified. So slow-mo is a drug that slows down the brain's perception of time to 1% of actual time. Worst thing in the world. I don't even know what the net benefit of that would be, because apparently some dude still couldn't react in time before Dredd put a bullet into him.
I don't remember what crimes these guys committed who were in the van, but they did do something.
They just did drugs, and they were driving recklessly.
They were reckless driving, but they did a robbery beforehand. I remember now.
Oh, okay.
So Dredd is after them, and he's just following them. He's not using any force yet until they hit an innocent, and then he just calls command, and he's like, they hit an innocent.
I'm taking him down.
He shoots up their van, kills most of them when the van flips. His motorcycle has crowd control mode, which sounds awesome.
It's just a PA of a pre-recorded robot voice.
I'd like to imagine it has guns popping up at every corner.
Remain calm. Shotgun in the face. Remain calm.
And he goes chasing after this person into one of the mega structures.
The malls. Or wait, it was a mega structure. I thought it was a mall.
See, the bottom floor of the mega structures are malls, from what I've seen.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. And he has... One of the bad guys who got away has a hostage, and Dredd offers him his conviction. He's like, you can either be sentenced to death here, or you can get life in an ISO cube.
Yep, and then he launches a fireball into the dude's mouth.
Yes.
All right. So back to Peach Trees. It really is like a blur of action until we get to the interrogation scene where we get a bit more in-depth look of Anderson's abilities.
You realize Anderson is terrifying.
Yeah. Something I really appreciated, a tiny detail that you would miss if you didn't think about it, and it's that Anderson isn't creating scenarios to torture him with. She's using his memories and altering them. Mm-hmm. Which is neat.
Yes, it is.
I like that. Because he used Mama's backstory. He used what he recently did to those three guys. Or she used. And then she used... Yeah, just what he did to those three guys, I'm pretty sure. And then it like cuts out and the guy's pissing himself. Not sure how he remained psychologically all there afterwards. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And then he had the audacity to try and take revenge on Anderson, which I'm pretty sure even Anderson tied behind her back could have just melted his brain.
She could have Jean Grey'd him.
Oh no, now I'm reminded of Dark Phoenix.
That movie wasn't...
Oh, what an awful movie.
That bad.
Anyway, it's at this scene that I gave the movie a reduction in points because, as I said earlier, just execute him afterwards. Mm-hmm. You have your information. He's dead. Sentence is death. Carry it out. We're pogging. And then more blur of Dredd killing people with Anderson's help. Mm-hmm. And then the thing that I predicted comes to fruition. Kay manages to take Anderson into an elevator and go up to the 200th floor, separating her from Dredd and making Anderson now a hostage of Mama. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Mama has a plan.
Mama does have a plan, surprisingly. She's not just a drug warlord.
No, she's like, see this? This is a drug deal gone bad. A drug bust gone bad. They're going to have 2 dead judges. It's not going to be our fault. So do you know what that means? Yep. You shoot her twice. No raping, no torture.
No flaying. Yeah. And so the movie then escalates. It kicks up the stakes because obviously you're not worried for Dredd against these standard bad guys anymore. You're like, all right, what are they going to do now? Ma calls 911, quote unquote, and has 4 judges who are paid off come to deal with Dredd.
And everyone finds out pretty quickly they're corrupt. Dredd only has to spend like 5 minutes with the guy before he's like, you need to die.
All right, awesome. Crooked cop, disgusting. Just kills him.
Anderson doesn't even have to speak to her. He just shoots her.
Yeah, I also gave this movie a reduction of points because obviously the 2 female judges have to go at each other.
I mean, yeah, but they kind of subverted your expectations a little bit with that, just because you think there's going to be a fight.
There was no fight.
Yeah, scene. Anderson just nails her to the wall with her machine gun.
Yeah, I didn't be too harsh on it just because of that detail,
which I appreciated.
I do hate that cliche. Yes. Though, where it has to be girl versus girl, boy versus boy.
That's fair.
And then I'm pretty sure whenever it's not, people complain about it. So it literally is Anderson, like, just mind reads her, and she's like, I'm your backup. And then it just, and then...
Which I enjoyed. I enjoyed the fact that she just takes her out. There's no, like, girl-on-girl fight. It's just, dead.
Don't understand why Anderson didn't pick up the judge pistol. They have a name. I forget what it's called.
Oh, because, remember, they're identity locked per judge.
Is it specific to judges, or... Okay. I thought you could pick up another judge's if you were a judge. I thought it would be an override. Well, then how do they clean them up?
What do you...
Do you pick it up with a metal crane?
Oh, you can't fire it. You can pick them up, you just can't fire them. Because remember that one guy was handling it.
I know, I'm just f***ing around. Just being a...
So many bubble sound effects in a row.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. We're censoring now. At any rate, the climax... Does this movie even have a climax? Because it just seems like a constant, like, easy dub after easy dub for Dredd.
I would say when Dredd fights the other judges, because he does get injured at that point.
Okay, yeah.
I would say that's probably the climax.
Yep. Which, by the way, I do not believe for a second that Dredd would watch the bullets penetrate the wall and then just stand there ready to get shot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that for a second. Sorry, that lost some points.
See, I wonder if he knew he had time or what was going on at that point.
Maybe, perhaps. But, like, how could he have known that Anderson got free?
That's fair. Also, it didn't seem like he had anywhere to run at that point. He was kind of pinned down.
In my opinion, if you see the person, like, going shot for shot, like, across the wall, after you see that shot, quickly roll over to the side that he's already shot.
Kobayashi Maroon.
I don't think it would have been that hard, but you gotta have some kind of stakes, I suppose.
Somehow he did know that she was out.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm waiting for her.
And, like, I also find it funny how Dredd has a reputation amongst the other judges because they specifically put a super high price for Mama to pay just because it was Dredd.
They're like, do you know the judge you're going against? And she goes, no, we do. It's $1 million.
It's $1 million. Take it or leave it, or we will go. Or we will start doing our jobs.
Oh, that poor medical guy.
Yeah. He kind of deserved it.
Slightly. You can definitely see his point of view at that point where he's like, I can't let you in or they will just murder me. Like,
no, he didn't let them in because he didn't believe that they could win. So it wasn't a thing of like he was afraid to die. He was afraid that they wouldn't be able to save him.
Because at that point, like he said, he's neutral and he would rather stay that way.
That's 5 years in the ISO cubes for neutrality.
Take that, Switzerland.
Switzerland's in a really big ISO cube right now.
Switzerland's all one big ISO cube. That's why they're a third world country.
Oh my god.
Deep cuts there for those non-history inclined. The term third world country comes from any country that was neutral during World War I or II.
Okay.
I'm going to have like 10 people trying to correct me in the comments. I just know it.
So, Mama installs a heartbeat like detection thing that's going
Which is something you can do now.
Yeah. And it's going to trigger bombs to blow if it stops.
Mm-hmm.
Dredd, for some reason, believes that it can't penetrate 50 or 100 layers of concrete, even though they're well into the future with technology.
Dredd calls her bluff, because at that point they do find her.
Also, he throws her in the middle where there is no concrete and the signal can just travel up. But oh well, I'll believe it, because, you know, Wi-Fi has a range and everything, I guess. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But he gives her slow-mo and then he throws her out the window.
Punishment fits the crime.
Yep. And it's just like 30 seconds of Lena Headley just falling.
And they get out, and Anderson passes, although she thinks she fails because she lost her weapon. And one of the things was you can't lose your weapon or have it taken from you.
Oh, I thought that scene was hilarious because she literally hands him her badge and then walks away. And then he's like, she's a pass. So I have to imagine like Dredd like doing like the quick walk to like catch up to her and go like, hey,
wait a minute.
Wait, Anderson, come here. And then he's like starts doing like the half-ass jog. Wait, come back. You passed. Like, would it have really been that hard to say stop before she got out of earshot?
Well, as we know, Dredd is very dramatic.
And then we never know if he gave it back to her, because at the end of the movie is just him driving off alone. It's kind of facetious.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's fun. I know I've said I've like took off points and stuff like that, but I'm not giving this movie a low rating. It's a 7 out of 10.
The movie's very fun.
Definitely a 7 out of 10.
Like 7.5 for me. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
It's a smarter action movie. There's no dumb quick cuts or like 40 jump cuts in order to climb a fence like Taken. The action is fluid and nice. And everything's visible.
The
no
action is pretty one-sided most of the time. But that's okay, because it is fun to just watch two superhumans plow through a bunch of people.
Because, like, this was the time period where everything was shaky cam and horrible in quick cuts.
Oh boy, yeah, that's true.
This was just a good, well-made action movie where everything was shot the way it should have been.
Also, special effects for like the slow-mo scenes, kind of beautiful.
Oh yeah, it is.
Kind of miraculous and spectacular. Back to slow-mo, like as a drug. I assume if you get shot, you are experiencing that pain for an extremely long time.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that. You're going to die extremely slowly. Another reason why the drug is just fucking horrible and is the most terrifying thing about this movie.
Yes.
So, our next movie that we're reviewing, I took some time to think about it.
Okay, what are we talking about, Greg?
Okay, sorry. I wanted to do a review on Pulp Fiction.
Oh.
Because
okay.
I extremely love Quentin Tarantino. Mm-hmm. He is my favorite writer and director, and I cannot believe that we have not done a review on a Quentin Tarantino film yet.
Okay.
So look forward to that, audience. I know I do.
Yeah, it'll be fun to rewatch that movie. It's been maybe a year or two, something like that.
Do you ever really forget your first viewing of Pulp Fiction?
No, that was my first year of college. I think Adam made me watch
it. Really? You watched it that late?
That's how life does it sometimes.
I watched Pulp Fiction when I was 13, because that was when my parents were like lenient on when I could watch R-rated movies, and then my brother straight up showed me like one of the worst R-rated movies he possibly could with Pulp Fiction.
Oh no, there are far worse R-rated movies.
Oh, there are, but that was a pretty solid one.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I wasn't allowed to watch R-rated movies for the longest time growing up.
Because you were a good little Catholic boy.
My family was Protestant. Anyway.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Anyway.
No, that's way better, actually, than being Catholic.
Let's wrap it up.
Yep, let's wrap it up. Judge Dredd, go watch it. Sign the petition for a sequel. I desperately would like more movies like this.
Definitely. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff. We have a Discord server. You should join it. We have a free one and a patron one. You can also join our Patreon if you're so inclined. Greg?
Yeah. Time to take trash out.
Time to take trash out, Greg. All right.
Time to take trash out.
Bye.
Goodbye.